And
could you share with the audience real quick what Zcash is for those that don't know?
Right. So Zcash is a fork of Bitcoin, but it uses ZK snark technology to shield the sender and receiver, and also the amount of transactions. So so all of that can be private, and it's basically before that there was maybe ideas to do like transaction mixing and some other things for privacy, but there are they probably wouldn't really hold up under sort of strong cryptographic scrutiny, whereas you can enable strongly cryptographic privacy with ZK snarks. So there was a foundation, a company that formed. So it was the Zero Coin Foundation, and there were investors, and people invested, and then they decided, okay, 20% of all the mining rewards will be split up, and some of that's going to go to investors, some of it's going to go to developers. And I mean, part of it was I was actually kind of mad because I didn't have the opportunity to invest in it. Yeah. Right? Like these investors were just this very small group of people, very
like the inner circle,
the insiders.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's not fair. If Zcash becomes the next money, like if it becomes worth $1 trillion, and there's 20 people, and they're these early investors, and maybe even 5 or 10% of it that just goes to 5 or 10 people, it just didn't sit right with me. I was actually really upset. And I started looking through the code, and the surprising thing was really to remove that, it only took deleting 20 lines of code.
So you deleted 20 lines of code out of Zcash,
right,
and created ZClassic.
Right.
That's amazing. I wish I had the ability. Why didn't you delete the code? You're an engineer, man.
That's right. Maybe I should have done that if I knew it was going to work.
20 lines of code, you could have done that.
And it was actually a disaster. If you look at, I made an announcement on Bitcoin Talk, and because at first I tried to tell people like, hey, let's get rid of this founders reward. Let's get rid of this founders reward, and nobody listens to you, right? They're just like, oh, whatever, right? Sorry, they have, anyway, nobody's listening. And then I just went on to Bitcoin Talk, and I said, "Hey guys, here's the code. I deleted the founders reward. I deleted 20 lines. Just start mining it, right?" and people, all of a sudden there was urgency. People were like, "Wait, what?
Yeah.
I can start mining this. It's there now." And then miners just started. They just downloaded it, and it was like somebody's gonna mine it.
So how did you get listed on Bittrex?
I think back then it wasn't as hard to get listed on Bittrex.
So Bittrex just picked you up, or did you go and get listed? How did you?
I didn't approach any exchanges. Within 2 days of ZClassic starting to get mined, other exchanges, smaller exchanges, just started saying, "We're listing this. We're listing this."
So you didn't actually, or basically the community somehow just rallied around it, and Bittrex noticed that and then just decided to pick it up on their own. Is that what happened?
There was at some point after ZClassic was on a few other exchanges, somebody basically reached out to me and said, "Hey, Bittrex needs to talk to a developer from the coin, but basically they want to add ZClassic." And if you
Bittrex contacted you. You didn't contact them.
I don't remember exactly. It was either somebody told me, it might not have been officially Bittrex, but somebody that knew them or something. But it was basically like, just fill out this form, and Bittrex wants to list ZClassic.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Cool. Were you shocked about that when you put the code out and everybody started mining it? Did you mine it yourself?
It was an amazing experience, actually, because it was shocking. I announced this blockchain, and now it's almost like it's like creating some new kind of life form.
Yeah.
And it hasn't died. I basically did nothing with it. I did no development. I did no support. You can't turn it off, right? Like I could go away, and it's going to keep going, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay.
Right. And it's
But you didn't bother mining it or nothing. You just put the code out and that was it.
I did try to mine a little bit. I did try to mine it actually. I announced it, and I wanted to mine some when it was early. I thought, okay, so I spun up an AWS instance, and I was like, oh, I'll try to mine this. And then I remember it was within 20 or 30 minutes, somebody had the same mining power as 2,000 of my laptops that was running on it. And I was like, so there was an early miner, because there was an early miner that was like, okay, I'll speculate on this and just point a bunch of my mining rigs at this early chain, and he got about 1,000 or 2,000 of the first blocks really quickly.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, but I think I was able to. I mined a little bit of ZClassic.
Mm-hmm. And then, so talk about what happened after that.
Yeah.
Because we didn't hear about ZClassic forever, and then until now. What happened?
Yeah. Well, so
between then and now.
The reason why I created ZClassic was because I wanted people to always have the choice for whatever technology Zcash creates, because they have a lot of really great scientists and developers, and whatever technology they create, I wanted to make sure that people had the option to use all of that, but without paying the 20% fee. And so that was the purpose of ZClassic. That was why I wanted to make it. But there was a community that bought into ZClassic, and they were really excited about the privacy, and they wanted to add features. And so that was the Zen coin people. But what happened was they wanted to do that on ZClassic, and they said, let's add features, let's improve. We have this great community, let's improve it. And I said, no, we need to keep ZClassic going as just a purely mined, no developer fee, no founder's reward coin. That's just a Zcash. Basically,
you wanted to keep it pure.
Just keep it pure, yeah. Right. And so what we decided was to do a fork, then a hard fork, where if you had one ZClassic, you would also get a Zen coin. And
did you help with that, or did the ZenCash guys did that? Well,
it's funny because I was supportive. So the only thing that I didn't help with anything technical. It was, I think, Bittrex reached out to me and they said, is there, like, are you guys fighting? Is there something going on? And I said, no, it's just they want to do this and we don't. But I guess I sort of, I supported their choice, but I didn't help really in any other way.
Okay.
And so I remember the Zen coin. I think it's called Zen Cash now, right?
Right.
So there was a split finally. They did the airdrop and they forked, and then the price of ZClassic plummeted,
right?
if I recall correctly.
Right.
So what were you doing by this time after the Zen Cash?
Well, keep in mind, like I actually didn't have any ZClassic really the whole time. I had no ZClassic or Zen this whole time.
Okay.
I mean,
you started
like
the code,
20,
but you had little to none.
I had like maybe less than 50.
Yeah. The natural inclination or instinct that people would have in the blockchain space is that if you're the creator of ZClassic, you must be loaded.
Right.
But you're saying you don't have any.
Right. I didn't have any because there was no founder's reward. There was no, and I just didn't, I didn't mine it or buy it. Okay. So. So
you did it 100% just so that someone can have the choice of using Zcash without the 20% of the mining rewards going to the founders.
Right, and I tried to tell everyone from the beginning. I tried to say, like, look, I had to have another job. I was like, I can't. This isn't supporting me. I'm not getting paid to work on this. And if people want to do other, to work on this and do other things, like somebody's going to have to do it.
You maintain the GitHub repo, though, right? You review any pull requests.
Right. I'm one of the people with access to do pull requests, and so I do that. And from time to time, Zcash makes updates, and then it's really great because Zcash kind of tests the updates for ZClassic, right? But
so
right.
Are you saying Zcash is like the test bed for, like Litecoin is the test bed for Bitcoin?
It's pretty nice. It's a little bit safer. I feel like they're sort of bleeding edge, and they provide the bounty for anyone to hack Zcash first. And then as long as it's safe, then like a month or two later, we can merge it into ZClassic. But that's what we've been doing because there isn't really much extra functionality that I felt that we've needed to add.
So the majority of the work you would say is community driven. You would say that like you're not getting paid from this. You have a real job that you actually have to go to every day to support yourself, and that ZClassic up until now is really supporting itself, right? It's the purely people in the community contributing their time and effort to maintain and software.
And that's what it was, and I think that that's a big part of why it kind of died off.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's because there wasn't much incentive for people to keep supporting it, and then it was actually a big experiment where at the time when Zcash was one of the earlier funds with some kind of some sort of fund taken from the miners and given to developers, right? Before that, with Bitcoin, all the money goes to the miners. With Dogecoin, all the money goes to the miners. And I was under the impression that that's the right way to make a coin. But what we've seen now is actually Zcash has actually done really well. They had this mining reward. They use it to fund a lot of things for their community, their development. And if you look at how the price of Zcash versus ZClassic, it's drastically outperformed ZClassic over time.
Because there's no funding for development and marketing
for ZClassic.
Yeah.
Right. So it definitely was underperforming a lot of